rich. Okay, that's it. Free from money. That's it. And if people can't wrap their minds around it, I understand. That sounds so far out and radical and liberal or whatever. But no, this is biblical stuff, man. This is cosmic stuff. Anybody of any faith can relate to what I'm saying. That when God is ruling this world, not if, it's when God rules. So we need to get ready for this. This is how I cope. But I feel just as small and pitiable and pathetic and weak as this next guy, and God lets it happen. And it works for his good if you stay on track and you just say, I'm going to trust you, God. Your grace and mercy is enough to see me through this. I'm not going to try to live by the letter of the law because that destroys everybody. That's what I was trying to convey recently talking about this stuff. The letter of the law destroys everybody because we will all stumble in one area and then we're held accountable for the whole law, so we can't do it. So we must depend on the grace of God. And the beauty of that logic, what God did there, is that he takes into account this taboo effect. This, the reverse psychology whereby when you make something not okay to do, it makes people want it more. Do you understand? So, but this has its limits. Like, for example, this pedophilia and all this. I mean, this goes beyond even just molesting children. They're talking about as if that's okay. I mean, learn the teaching of Jesus before you touch a child, okay? Don't do it, okay? But this goes to child sacrifice, okay? Really sick stuff. They were talking on Millie Weaver, investigated down in Los Angeles recently, some of what's going on, and they'll find out a lot of the elite, the royalty are into this crap, bathing in blood. It goes back centuries. It's so horrible, I can't touch on it, but that's not the kind of thing I'm talking about here. God's not going to forgive just anything, okay? You're going to answer. We're all going to give account. So yes, you should confess your sin. But as far as that, man, you're on your own. Okay. Anybody that harms a child, you're on your own. I'm not going to stand there and say, oh, well, you can depend on the grace of Jesus because, Hal Lindsey said that any sin you commit today or that you have committed or that you will commit will be forgiven. Well, you could say, okay, well, he's using the reverse psychology, right? So you take away the taboo and you understand you don't want it all of a sudden. It's not so desirable. It's not so enticing like the original sin, the apple, the tree with the forbidden fruit, okay? And what happened there, okay? It was that enticement. Oh, I'm not supposed to do this. Well, what happens? I want it more. So this has its limits, okay? I'm not going to tell anybody that your sins are forgiven if you're hurting a child, okay? No. You're on your own, okay? I'm not going there. But when it comes to other stuff, when God knows our heart, he knows that the things we do, we are sorry for, we confess, but it's, like I said, it has its limits. I mean, are you going to go out there and you're going to commit first-degree murder? I mean, because you can be forgiven for murder? No, you see, it takes it away. I don't want to do it. It doesn't mean you're not going to do it. Look how Paul, the Apostle Paul, this guy that wrote 2/3 of the New Testament Bible, how he struggled with being a sinner. We're all sinners. We're born sinners. We're born cursed. We have this knowledge of good and evil. We're not even supposed to be cognizant of the fact that we're naked. Okay, imagine how different that is. What a breakaway that is from the way it is now. What a departure that is from how it is now. Because who is not fully aware when they're naked? But yet we were created to be oblivious to being naked. Okay, so let's understand just how warped we are inherently. What a struggle it is to be a human just because of this curse, the fall of man, the forbidden fruit, the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, it's still very difficult. So even if we had social economic justice on the earth tomorrow, even if there was no more money, no more Satan, okay, we still got big problems because of the sin issue. We need to be born again like it's written. What does that mean? We need to surrender this very flesh and blood body. That's it, because God's going to give us a new immortal body. So being born again is saying, yeah, I'm ready. Let God's will be done on earth and in my life, and everything that doesn't edify me, I want it gone. Just like silver, when it's taken out of the earth, it's very impure and filled with dross. That's how we are with our sin and all this baggage and nonsense and carnal desires, worldly desires, all this crap. It's the dross that's going to get burned out of us. And the pure heart is there, and that's what God is after. That's where our relationship is. It's in tapping into that in yourself and understanding it's God that's working with you there and trying to develop that and refine your values. so that you can be pure and holy and be found worthy and deserving, inheriting a renewed earth. Because that's what's coming, and every sin that man engages in is going to be gone. It's all going to be lost. Okay, it doesn't mean we're going to be running around naked either, because it talks about these robes of righteousness. For whatever reason, this naked thing goes very deep, and we've all got hang-ups and issues about it. It's just the way it is, and you can say, "Well, I don't like that, and I'm never gonna fall again." And the next thing you know, you're falling. I mean, it's just, God made certain things in our lives very powerful. And our drive to procreate, what he did there was remarkable. He ensured it. When he said that in the beginning, he meant business. And that's why we have this very powerful desire to procreate. He made drugs, literally put drugs in our body that are actuated when we engage in procreative activity, okay? Even if it starts in the imagination. Remember, everything starts in the imagination. The Golden Gate Bridge started invisible, an idea. Some guys say, hey, that'd be great to have a bridge. Another guy said, well, that's stupid. We can't do that. Another guy said, wait, that's feasible, okay? And the next thing you know, it's there. And so it's the same thing with God. So it starts with just using our imagination and understanding what being pure and holy and righteous is, and just that's the relationship he wants with us. And his yoke is easy, his burden is light. It's he just wants to be friends. He wants us to go out and win more friends for him, which is opposite, antithetical to what the world system wants. The system puts a lot of burden on us. It wants this, it wants that. It wants you in fear. It wants you struggling. It wants you desperate, so that you're hungry and you're willing to do anything, so that they can get their dubious wars started. They can indebt the populations. They can have crime so that they have control over us. Then they can have their population controls through abortion and all this stuff, and all the desperation, the prostitution, the world's oldest profession, and all these vices, and all the people that make money off the vices that revolve around our need to escape this miserable so-called reality. Do you understand? So how bad it would be for the economy to fix problems, and how nonsensical that statement is, how oxymoronic that statement is, how paradoxical that statement is. But that's the way it is. If you just solved abject poverty, extreme poverty, do you know how fiscally prudent that would be? How your taxes could plummet in very short order? If we did that, how the cost of living along with it would plummet? But how many people would be finding new jobs because their old jobs revolved around the problem and often exacerbated the social economic problems we have, the wealth and income disparity, the ever-increasing poverty and desperation, people dying out in the cold? So you see, this is maddening to me that more people just don't understand this stuff, and I know I'm not any smarter than anybody else. But in this one area, it's just like, wow, I see something that a lot of people don't seem to see. It doesn't make me better than anybody else. It doesn't make me smarter than anybody else. But we've got to be very clear on what we're looking for. Because in order to get what you want, the prerequisite is knowing what the hell you're looking for. And what we're looking for is social economic progress. And how do we get that? There's more than one way to skin a cat. The way I say is through sound economic policy, creating sound money. Just like JFK tried to give us, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Jackson. People have understood these things. It's not hard. Ron Paul understands it. Adam Smith understands it. Max Kaiser understands it. Okay, there's certain economists that do, and some would take a different approach, a different method, but if they're honest, if they're genuine, if they're real, if they're worth their salt, they're all egalitarian at the end of the day. They're all saying, yeah, I'm willing to lay my cards on the table. May God's will be done. Whatever that is, socially, economically speaking, may God's will be done. Let the chips fall where they may. And these are the people I gravitate to, that I really like and respect, is ones that I sense that from, because it's like a sense. I just get it. Guys like Paul Craig Roberts. They just want to be free. They want their kids free, their grandkids free. They want you free, me free, strangers free, all of us free. And when we serve each other, it's because we damn well want to. And it'll be so much better. We can be more productive as if we needed to be. We don't need to be. We'd be working extremely lower hours, okay? And have so much more than what we have now. Like I hit on the artificial reefs. That's just one area. Everybody's got an imagination. What would you like to do to refine the earth as a playground for God's children? That's what God wants us to do. God is like a good parent. Think of God as the best parent. That's it. And that's where the best parent learned to be a good parent. It was an instinct they tapped into. They were just imitating God, emulating God, imitating Jesus. What did he say? What kind of a dad would he be? Would he withhold any good thing from anybody? No. So you can say, oh, would all be born decadent slobs, lazy, entitled slobs if everybody was born rich. That's tough. It's conscience. You can't say, I'm going to be this guy's conscience by oppressing him. That doesn't work that way. Otherwise, it's coming back on you. We belittle people and we say, well, I don't buy into what's good for the goose is good for the gander. No. I'm a little bit elitist. I'll take it this far. You can't do that. You've opened Pandora's box. You've got no standing. You can't be a little bit elitist. You can't believe in inequality even a little bit because you open that door and all those demons rush in and you're nobody. You've got no standing. You're going to rationalize your thinking to God on a one-on-one basis, that psychobabble rattling around in your head that has no basis.